Do on Zoom, but I can hear you good here now.
Okay, wonderful. And so I just want to make sure sometimes, we have technical issues. Usually when you're at the police center, we don't. But if at any point you can't hear what we're saying, either me, the attorneys, you need me to go back and repeat something, let me know, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Calling cause number 2021-0D02928, State of Texas versus Kim Hugendorn. May I have announcements, please?
Javier Salcedo, Assistant District Attorney for the state, ready to proceed.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jose Monte for Kim Hugendorn. We're ready, Your Honor.
And we are scheduled today for a plea. Ms. Hugendorn is appearing remotely at the police center, from the police center. Ma'am, as indicated on the docket, we are scheduled for a plea. Is that your understanding of what we're doing here today?
Yes.
Thank you very much. If you would, please raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Ma'am, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
Yes.
Thank you very much. You can put your hand down. If you would, please state your name and date of birth for the record.
Kim Arlene Hugendorn, April 11th, 1971.
Ms. Hugendorn, I'm going to be asking you about primarily about documents that you may have reviewed with your attorney, the first of which is marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Those are the plea papers in this case. Within that document, you're guaranteed certain rights, including the right to remain silent, the right to trial by jury, the right to counsel, the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses, and the right to call witnesses on your behalf and in your defense. Ma'am, do you recall reviewing State Exhibit number 1 with your attorney and signing that document?
Yeah, I went over the paperwork.
And I would ask for the record that no yes, okay, we use yes.
Yes.
And do you recall, did you understand everything contained within that document?
Yes.
Mr. Montes, have you had more than 10 days to prepare a defense in this case?
I have, Your Honor.
And did you explain the plea papers to your client?
Your Honor, we forwarded them to her. We asked her to read them and look them over. And if she had any questions to call us. Ms. Hugendorn indicated she had no questions.
Is that accurate, Ms. Hugendorn?
Yes.
It was a multiple page document indicating all the rights and waivers of those rights. Did you understand all of those?
Yes.
Okay, and you actually, I think Mr. Montes reminds me of something. The plea papers indicated an electronic signature. Did you authorize that electronic signature on all of the plea documents?
Yes. The signature.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Signature and the initials.
Okay. So at this point, Ms. Hugendorn, did you have any outstanding questions regarding your plea for your attorney?
No.
Okay. Do you believe, Mr. Montes, that she has understood the admonishments, rights, and consequences of giving up her rights by entering her plea today?
I believe she has, Your Honor.
Ms. Hugendorn, are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Yes.
Mr. Montes, any reason to believe that your client is not presently competent to enter her plea?
No reason, Your Honor.
Ms. Hugendorn, have you ever been found incompetent, mentally incompetent by any court?
No.
Ever been examined by a doctor or psychiatrist who has found you mentally ill?
No.
So based on your testimony, your attorney's representations, and my observations of you, I'm going to find that you are competent to enter your plea today. Ma'am, are you a United States citizen?
Yes.
Where were you born?
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay. In this case, although originally indicted as a first-degree felony manufacture or delivery of a controlled substance, I understand through negotiations you are pleading to the lesser included third-degree felony offense of possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 1 in an amount between 1 and 4 grams. Ma'am, to that lesser included charge, what is your plea? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Are you making your plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
I will find you are making your plea freely and voluntarily. Mr. Salcedo, would you summarize the evidence, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Had the state proceeded to trial, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about the 23rd day of December 2020 and anterior to the presentment of the indictment in the county of El Paso and state of Texas, Kim Hugendorn did then and there knowingly possess a controlled substance in penalty group 1, namely heroin, in an amount of 1 gram or more, but less than 4 grams. And at this time, the state would offer State's Exhibit number 1, which is the plea agreement, the trial certification of appeal, and the Article 3914.
Any objection to those exhibits, Mr. Montes?
No objection, Your Honor, except on the community service hours. We have renegotiated that to 50 hours and would ask the court to note that amendment.
Okay, I don't know that Mr. Salcedo gave us the information on the plea agreement yet. However, I will let counsel know that in reviewing the plea papers, it's the court's intention to waive those hours due to the physical limitations of your client. So with respect to
Thank you.
the exhibits, is there any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so State's Exhibit 1, the plea papers, the 3914 trial court certification, and I'm not the 35, the trial court certification or right to appeal and the 3914 are all admitted into evidence. Now, Mr. Salcedo, what is the plea agreement?
The state's recommendation, Your Honor, is 10 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, probated for 5 years, that the defendant be assessed a $1,000 fine with all of that probated. We had originally put on 50 hours of community service, but I understand the court will be waiving that. So no community service hours, that she undergo random urinalysis and breath analysis, a curfew, a TAP assessment, and all other terms of probation. I know Ms. Rago had indicated on here that she wanted Ms. Hugendorf to pay court costs, but again, given the limitations, we would ask that the court waive any court costs.
Okay, Mr. Montes, is that your understanding of the plea agreement?
It is, Your Honor. I thank the court and thank Mr. Salcedo.
Ms. Hugendorn, is that your understanding as well?
Yes.
Understand that the plea agreement is not binding on the court. However, if I were to reject it, I would allow you to withdraw your plea. If I follow the plea agreement, you may not appeal this case except on matters raised by written motion and ruled on before trial and by permission of the court. The next document I'm going to ask you about is the trial court certification of your right to appeal. It is a document that explains your appeal rights. Because this is a plea bargained or negotiated case, you do not have an automatic right of appeal. Ms. Hugendorn, do you recall reviewing the trial court certification after you reviewed it with your attorney?
Yes, if it was in the paperwork that I signed, yeah, I reviewed it.
It's a one-page document, ma'am, that discussed your appeal rights. Again, because this is a plea bargain case, you do not have a right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And I do show that the documents returned to the court reflected both the e-signature of your client, Mr. Montes, and Mr. Montes' signature was signed by the court as well.
That's correct, Your Honor.
On your plea of guilty and the evidence introduced, I will accept your plea and at this time find the evidence substantiates your guilt. I will find you guilty of the offense of the lesser included offense of possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 1 in an amount between 1 and 4 grams. And I will assess your punishment pursuant to the plea agreement at 10 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division that will be suspended for a period of 5 years of community supervision. There will be a $1,000 fine. However, the entire fine is probated, which means that as long as you are in compliance with your conditions of probation, you will not owe the fine. If you are ever not in compliance, they can come back and collect the entirety of the fine. Court costs and community service hours are waived. Urine and breath, you are subject to urine and breath analysis. Curfew from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. unless you are working, and then you will be screened by TAP. Is there anything further, Mr. Montes or Mr. Salcedo?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you very